increase in average global temperatures. Earth's average temperature has risen steadily since about 1900. This is almost entirely the result of increased levels of certain gases in the atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide from fossil fuels and land use, methane, nitrous oxide, and F-gases. Right now, on the path that we are on, there is an expected 4.2 degrees Celsius increase in global temperature by 2100.
There are a number of effects that climate change could have on our world. Droughts and heat waves, heavy downpours and floods, hurricanes will be stronger and more forceful. The sea level could rise around 1 to 4 feet by 2100. The poles will become ice-free, snow caps will melt, ocean acidification will increase, and the list goes on. This could majorly affect health, agriculture, water quality, forestry, and more.
The climate agreement predicts a 3.43 degrees Celsius increase by 2100 by getting various countries to agree to decrease their emissions of greenhouse gases. Our plan is this, and through several different modifications and efforts, we want to have the global temperature only increase by 2 degrees Celsius by 2100. One way the world can contribute to this is by using alternative energy sources.
Welcome to Tubby Incorporated. Today we are granted with a special guest. What is your name?
My name is Jared Rubin.
And what is EWEB?
EWEB stands for the Eugene Water and Electric Board.
All right, thank you.
What do you do for EWEB?
So I work as an environmental specialist, and my job is to make sure that we have the right permits to do the work and we're compliant with all the state and federal regulations, and that we're doing the right thing in terms of the environmental protection.
And what do you do to improve the cleanliness of the atmosphere in Eugene?
Well, we're lucky that we have a lot of renewable resources in our portfolio. So in terms of the electricity that we use and we generate, it's mostly hydro and green power, and that does not emit a lot of carbon or pollution into the environment.
Perfect.
What energy sources do you use to produce electricity for Eugene?
Well, we mostly produce hydropower. So we have sites up the Mackenzie River, and we generate about 20% of the power that we use. The rest comes from the Bonneville Power Authority, and that's also mostly hydro. We do have some wind, and we have some solar, and we have some cogeneration. But here in Oregon and in Eugene, it's mostly hydropower.
Here we have a river. It can be used for hydropower or hydroelectric power. These electricity sources is used with flowing water that is turned into electricity through capturing the water. The most common power plant is a dam that stores water in reservoirs and uses turbines that are pushed by the water to produce energy through activating the generators. The historical background is the beginning of the usage and production of hydropower began in the 1700s when Bernard Forrest de Bellecour, a military engineer and French hydraulic, wrote Architecture Hydraulic. A pro is that hydropower is the most used source of energy. It has the ability to produce electricity without emitting any greenhouse gases. A con is that the making and usage of dams can damage wildlife habitats or infect water supply.
What am I saying? Howdy, y'all. Today I'm going to talk to you about solar panels. Follow me. Here we have a solar panel. Solar panels are made up of silicon cells which are used as semiconductors of the sun's energy. This means that when the sun's rays hit the panel, the electrons in the silicon atoms begin to move. This movement creates an electric current which can be sent to a battery and stored. Now a little historical background. In 1839, Alexander Edmund Barakel discovered the photovoltaic effect. Photo meaning relating to or produced by light, and voltaic meaning relating to electricity produced by a chemical reaction. Alexander said that shining light on an electrode submerged in a conductive solution would create an electric current. But even after more research, photovoltaic energy wasn't efficient enough to use as power and was just used to measure light. Now some pros. Some pros of solar panels are that it's sustainable, easy to use, it's silent, it's low maintenance, and the technology is improving. But some cons are that it's expensive, there isn't always sunlight out, producing the Producing the panels can cause pollution. There are rare materials to produce the solar panels, and it requires space to use them.
Hey, didn't see you there. Here we have some wind turbines. The first wind turbine was created in 1888 in Cleveland, Ohio by Charles F. Bush. By 2016, wind energy accounted for just over 6.7% of the United States electricity production. Wind turbines convert kinetic energy from wind into mechanical power. This mechanical power can be used for specific tasks, or a generator can convert this into electricity. A wind turbine turns wind into electricity using the aerodynamic force created by rotor blades. When the wind flows across the blade, the air pressure on one side of the blade decreases. The difference in air pressure across the two sides of the blade creates both lift and drag. The force of lift is stronger than the drag, and this causes the rotor to spin. The rotor is connected to the generator. This translation of aerodynamic forces of rotation of the generator creates electricity. Technology improvements helped wind energy to become the world's fastest growing alternative energy, lowering its price and making it competitive with other energy sources, including coal. Some of the pros are wind energy, along with decreasing our reliance on harmful fossil fuels for energy production, has a huge potential. It is already producing 2.5% of the global energy, and it is increasing. The wind energy is clean and renewable, creates jobs, is space efficient, and more. Cons, however, are that wind power is an unpredictable energy source, because if there's no wind that day, you're left without energy. Noise pollution is another big problem because wind turbines are very loud. Wind energy is expensive to set up and can also be hazardous for animals, especially ones that fly.
Geothermal energy is an energy source that comes below the Earth's crust. It typically comes from hot springs or hot water. Sometimes it can come from hot or molten rock underneath the Earth's crust. Geothermal energy works by taking the hot water underneath the ground and using it in a heat exchanger to transfer the hot water to usable heat for your house. Another way to use it is using an energy plant. The steam will turn the turbine to make the energy into usable, safe, and clean energy. The Larderella fields in Italy were used for extracting boric acid until 1904. In 1904, Perugini Conti was the first scientist to create geothermal power plant. Pros: geothermal energy is a way to stop usage of fossil fuels. It also doesn't use a lot of cost after you initially install it. Cons: it costs a lot for the initial installment, and it only works for places where hot springs are located underneath you.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Around 80 other countries use wind to generate energy.
20% of the world's electricity is supplied through hydroelectricity.
In a single hour, the amount of power that the sun produces that strikes the earth is more than the world consumes in an entire year.
Most geothermal power plants are located where the most volcanic activity is.
He's coming with the snowball.
I forgot we're having bloopers. Oh my god.
I told you it would be all out. Your ass is so funny. Oh my god!
No, push you backwards.
Ah! Alex!
You need to fix this. God. Okay.
I'm getting sun bleached here.
What was that voice?
Sun bleach.
Oh my goodness.
Sun kiss.
Hi, Wolfie. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Hope. This is Alice.
Look at me, Wolfie. Look at me.
Electricity do you produce for Eugene? Do you know that?
Let me see. How much? Breaking her so bad.
Through activating the generators. The first usage and production of hydropower. Oh my god. Okay, we're ready? We're ready?
Okay, you ready?
Action.